Attention, citizens. It's time for Super Pulp Science.
All right, this is Super Pulp Science, where we talk about how genre gets made. I'm Gregory Kamichuk. I'm here with my long-suffering co-host, Justin Curry, known the world over as Chasing Artwork.
Hello.
Our producer extraordinaire, Dan Vadeboncoeur.
Hello. Oh, I'm much louder than you.
And our very special guest, Steven Kostanski.
Thanks for having me.
Now, Steven doesn't know this, but we have a long tradition at the studio called 13 Horrors. So we're going to throw him in the middle of that. Now, before the dear listener gets started, they should know. I wrote down some of your bona fides, Steven. How do you feel about that?
Go for it. I want to see what these bona fides are.
All right. So can you make out my handwriting? Yeah. No, you can't. Steven Kostanski, you may know because we have previously shouted with love and adoration about his film Psycho Gorman on the episode on our podcast. And he has recently worked on The Boys, a little show you may have heard of, The Cabinet of Curiosities, and with one of my all-time favorite modern directors, Panos Cosmatos. And I would love to talk to him about that a little bit later. Right? What Steven does is he makes his own crazy horror films. They're like action-adventure, pageantry, horror, gore poems.
/ family films, I'd say.
And so this brings us back around to why I brought you all here today. So Justin, did we lose our... There we go. Justin, Dan, and Steven. Today is the 13th of the month. And on the 13th of the month, what we usually do is we do something called 13 Horrors, where I get a group of people who want to help make up stories, and we meet an hour before midnight on the 13th, and we race to midnight, and we make up a horror movie. And we were planning to do that tonight after this show. And then Dan said, oh, Steven could be on the episode, and I couldn't not do 13 Horrors with you. Is this all right if we try this? Now, the trick with 13 Horrors is you don't prepare, really. What we're going to do is we're going to story break a horror movie from start to finish, and we're going to use a method that we've used before, which is basically +1. So once an idea has been stated, we won't undercut it or discard it or argue about it. We'll just accept it and move forward, all right? But the rules of 13 Horrors is first what you do is you set up some of the tropes of a horror movie, and we'll brainstorm that a little bit, and then we'll select some. So, for example, I wrote down some tropes like running in the woods, don't go in there, let's split up, a dried-up riverbed, an abandoned blank, a vengeful blank, right? You get the idea? So let's first throw some ideas on this page before we decide what to do with them. What are some of your favorite horror movie tropes?
Car broken down in the middle of nowhere.
Cell reception is not a thing, or the cell phones are dead. I forgot my charger.
Or we make it a period piece and there's no cell phones at all.
I like that.
There's that, right?
I'm on board that fully.
Yeah.
Just deny cell phones.
I think that's, I don't know if it's a major reason, but I think that when you're writing a story, taking that element out completely changes, right? Like you think about how we communicate now compared to how we communicated 20 years ago even, and it's completely different. So, yeah, when you think about a horror movie and like all these ways in which somebody could call for help but don't, that's very, very easy way to call for help.
Okay, so far on the list we've got dried up riverbed. Now we're not choosing these things yet. We haven't selected. We're just throwing stuff in the salad bowl before we mix it up. All right. So what else you got in there?
Can't think of it. Steve, what else you got?
Don't put me on...
Steve doesn't like being on the spot, so I'm going to suggest the following. Okay, teenagers in the woods, a monster maker, a cabin. Should that cabin be... It's obviously a rundown old prospector's cabin.
What if it's a nice cabin? What if it's like a brand new, state-of-the-art, modern cabin? I'm going completely against what I just said about the cell phone thing, but I think it should be modern.
But it could be modern in 1801.
Oh, yeah, I guess. It could be.
Right? It could have a new porcelain wash basin.
Could there be a dollhouse in the cabin that's a miniature version of the cabin that we're in.
Now you know why he works with the big boys. So there's a dollhouse in the cabin that's a perfect replica of the cabin itself.
Except for there's something grisly in one of the rooms foreshadowing what might happen.
One of the dollhouse rooms is painted red. Every aspect of that room is just painted red. In the dollhouse, not in the actual cabin.
And what if it's a hidden room? They didn't find it on their first round around the house, but
the
in the
young
dollhouse.
daughter found it, playing around with the dollhouse.
You understand intrinsically what's going on. So far, we have a cabin in the woods in 1801, a new build, brand new porcelain basins, a dollhouse. Yeah, there's no cell phones.
No phones at all, actually.
Right, haven't been. Near a dried up riverbed. But in the cabin is a dollhouse that's a perfect replica of the cabin, and the daughter finds one room painted red that they can't find in the cabin at all. Oh my gosh, what a great first act.
But then she finds it. She finds a secret entrance or something, or what is it?
Great question. Steven.
I think they go to where it should be in the actual cabin, but it's just a wall. There's nothing there. They knock on the wall, and it's clearly there's just, building. There's no sense of there being like an empty space behind it or anything. It's just a wall.
They go to the other side of that wall, and it's a room, and there is no space there, as far as they can tell. So then what happens, Justin?
Oh, man. Maybe one of the characters disappears.
Good. Yeah.
That's when they go back to the dollhouse, and there's a tiny little toy of the person
In the red room.
that's disappeared in the red room.
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah.
Enough! The longer we play these childish games, the more horrifying your deaths will be.
There's the title currently is The Red Room of this movie.
Well, yeah.
Well, Ed Piskor, who I doubt listens to our podcast, but has the new best-selling graphic novel called The Red Room, probably would take it. So,
The Red Chamber.
Maybe it's
I don't
not
know.
red though. Maybe is the red room a trope? We're talking about horror movie tropes because of things like Twin Peaks and that kind
so
of
the
thing.
term Red Room in his graphic novel is different, but the Red Room is just an idea in ghost storytelling as the one place where the manifestation always happens, where the thing always happens. So, right? So then
I
what
like
happens?
that.
Justin?
So we have this mystery. I always like in horror movies and monster movies when they establish the rules. Maybe we now need to establish the rules of the room, why it takes people, how it works, what it's doing. Figure that out a little bit.
Can I piggyback that with a bit of mechanics to this? The person disappeared at a very specific time. So, is it that at the stroke of 1 a.m. or something, somebody goes and it becomes part of the room?
Okay, I have an idea. The dollhouse, the top peak of the dollhouse is also a clock.
Yes.
And so when the clock comes to a certain point, that is when someone disappears. And they have to figure that out. Is it the little girl or who figures that out?
Well, who's the first? Well, we can figure this out later. Yes. No, I'm going to say little girl figures it out, but she's not the first to disappear. Somebody else disappears. Maybe it's somebody harmless like a repairman or somebody.
Whose cabin is it?
They're renting it. They're renting the cabin.
They're renting a new cabin in 1801. They're renting it?
Wait, are they renting it? Or have they been fed to it?
Oh, they've been tricked to go there.
Yes,
Well, if it's a new one-
the wealthy owners of the cabin
Yes.
have brought this poorer family there. They don't understand why. They've just been given this opportunity to stay at the house. I don't know how they'd frame it as some kind of generous reward to them. Maybe it was their servants or something, their servant family.
They're the recipients of a trust award given to orphan children, right? And so they get sent to live as the upper crust do for a weekend, not knowing that they will never return. Just a little taste. Yeah. That's good. Then what happens? Glass into it, so that's how we know.
Yeah.
Just throwing this out there as an idea. What if they break down one of the walls and there's flesh inside the walls?
That, not to negate the idea, but I feel that is an Act 3 kind of insanity.
Yeah.
Because how do you escalate that?
Yeah.
That's pretty big, but I love it. I'm all about, trust me, I'm all about meat walls, so.
How many meat walls have you constructed, Steven?
A few, and that's not a joke.
And that's like, nobody else in this room can answer that question that
I've
way.
made a few. They show up in the void, so yeah, I think that's an Act 3 thing for sure.
Yeah, you're right, though. It's a third act thing. Yeah.
Okay, so at a certain point near the end of the film, they're going to start dismantling the cabin itself and find fleshy walls betwixt some membrane, perhaps.
So the cabin is alive, is what you're saying. It's actually a living creature.
Or it's, I was going to say they like built a framework around a creature to
Or is
like
it like-
imprison it because the rich people are also this kind of Lovecraftian cult.
Oh.
And the house is also some specific geometric arrangement that keeps this creature at bay, but they have to feed it these sacrifices to stop it from gaining any power or something. I don't know.
So that red room becomes the keystone point in the architecture. As long as they keep it full of blood or meat or people, then the framework of that cosmic architecture is intact.
Then the hermit stays in its shell. If it's fed, it stays there.
Yeah. and it
If it's
doesn't
not
leave.
fed, it,
See, this
it leaves.
not to jump ahead, but I feel like this then leads to a good finale but also finale of our heroes escape and they survive, but them surviving disrupts the equilibrium of this house and unleashes the creature. So it ends the last shot of the movie is we just see this like thing rising above the forest that the house is in. There's some creature that we get a vague sense of, and it's growing and it's expanded beyond the house.
Yeah.
Cut to credits.
I was thinking about...
Say that again loud into the microphone.
Like a Baba Yaga house. At the end, the house stands up
Ooh, yeah.
on like creepy legs.
I like that that's kind of an opposite of the trope of the house getting sucked into the ground, because we've seen that a few times, right? Of like poltergeist, where they just all get sucked together. So this is
Yes.
like the opposite. The house is going to expand out and become the creature.
The image of a house growing legs and walking away is pretty awesome.
And I like the idea of like revealing it a little bit at a time throughout the movie. So like we're getting to see like maybe an eye or something. I don't know.
Ooh, I love like just opening like a trap door or something, and there's just a giant eye looking back, and the character you play it as a jump scare and then a comic relief beat of them just being like, no thanks, and shutting the door on it, and that's the moment where they're like, we need to get out of this house right now.
I'm currently drawing an eye looking out from a trap door. I just can't help myself.
You can have a lot of fun with like the Foley early on in the movie with like sounds of the house breathing and creaking and it's a little spookier than it's supposed to be.
It's just settling. It's just settling, they'll say. It's a new build, so it's just settling in that sound of the creak and oh yeah, that's good.
And so we should really introduce a lot of like weird architectural details in Act 1 that at the time don't seem to amount to anything. It's just like, oh, why is this staircase kind of off? And like there's just like dangerous corners in the house. Maybe one, like the dad or something keeps like bumping into one corner, and he's like, why would you build it like that? And it all, comes to a head at the end when you realize like, oh, these are all specific like ritualistic design choices to keep this thing at bay.
So I'm writing dangerous symmetry down right now.
Do you have a name, Monster Man?
No name can encompass my dark will. Though my enemies will sometimes refer to me as the Archduke of Nightmares.
Oh, that sucks.
You could like have the classic somebody cuts their hand in the kitchen, the blood spills on the floor and gets sucked through the floorboards and disappears.
Oh, yeah.
Very, very Hellraiser moment.
Yeah. But it makes like a noise, like a slurping noise a little bit. Like it just, like it's a pool of blood, but it just like drains a little too quickly into the crowd.
So how does the house eat people is my question. Like let's talk about the actual act of eating a person.
So then that begs the question. The clock dollhouse is some kind of magical device or artifact created by the cultists that keep the creature, the key to keeping the creature contained. And when the people are eaten or maybe kept from the creature, they appear as tiny dolls or figurines within the dollhouse. Is the dollhouse the weakness that breaking it frees the creature, or what is that? This is a big moment now because we need to have details from the beginning, close out, right? Now, these are big.
Story stuff to break.
Big story stuff. Now, the other detail I think is important. No, I've decided is important. The dried up riverbed. right? The dried up riverbed is like an early indication that the thing is absorbing and pulling things in, and it should in fact be where the river continues on, but it dips into the ground and disappears, like the river dries beside the house.
There should be a beach where they acknowledge the dry riverbed, and maybe whoever brings them there is like, that had water in it not that long ago.
Yeah, good.
They go to fish. Let's go fishing at the old so-and-so.
Yeah, and why are all the fish gone? Why's the water gone? What happened? Like, everything has just disappeared because it all got sucked in by the house.
Okay, so we have 2 details so far. We have 2 thirst-related, dripping-related. It feeds, it absorbs the blood. The meat is left behind. Now, is the meat in the walls, it's the creature, or is the creature made of the meat of the victims?
No, I think it's
distinction
a creature.
that I think only Steven is qualified to answer.
Yeah, you're right.
I want to believe that it is the creature somehow compressed into the nooks and crannies of this house. I want to see an old-timey drawing, like kind of like an architectural blueprint of this house with this creature kind of drawn into its walls in every kind of like crevice. So I feel like it's a prison around this thing that's built around a pre-existing thing.
Kind of like how coral has like the bones of coral, like there's a creature inside the bones of the coral, right? And so the house is the bones, and this like diaphanous, horrible, expanding, slick thing can flow in around.
Maybe it's a case of this thing was much smaller initially when they built the house, and so the cult that made it doesn't even realize how big it's become. I feel like this is a key component you always have to have with cults getting their comeuppance at the end, is they don't realize how bad the situation is until it's unleashed, and then they realize the folly of their ways. So, yeah.
I just thought of something. It's 1801. It's a new century, so the rules are different now. There's porcelain basins. There's no cell phones yet, but there are porcelain basins.
You're really hung up on the porcelain basins, eh?
I'm gonna make it
I think
matter.
someone's gonna have to get their head smashed into a basin. Maybe that's how the house eats people, is through the toilet.
Someone's head gets smashed on a porcelain basin. Take it away, Justin.
Wait, what's the basin made out of?
Porcelain.
Okay, porcelain basin.
How dry is the riverbed?
Extra dry. Arid, you might say.
I feel like smashing onto the porcelain basin, that is a maybe Act 2 set piece to kind of, because we've had a lot of exposition, a lot of like discovery, and so we have some cultists come in. My brain just keeps going to the sequence in End of Days when Schwarzenegger is chasing those cultists who are trying to get the main girl, and it's kind of the only part of the movie that actually works, because there's a lot of tension. He's like chasing these cultists. There's a race against the clock element, so maybe these cultists are after the little girl, and the dad or somebody has to like fight these cultists off, which culminates in one of them getting their head bashed into the porcelain basin. But just as they are maybe conveying some important information about the creature that he cuts off because he's in the midst of killing him.
And the dad is there despite them being orphans because she was just visiting the orphanage and got swept up into it. So he can arrive in the second act as like a savior figure that can have agency.
Sorry, my bad. I blanked on it being all orphans now and not a family.
It's better now because a father figure has arrived, right, to save a child. And I feel guilty about these poor orphans just being grist for the mill. So let's give them a little character. Dan, make up an orphan. Give them some reason for living, some joy in their heart so that age them up a little so we can... Yeah.
How old are we talking here?
I don't know, like teenagers maybe?
Yeah, I mean, we could have Jack. I like Jack as a name. I kind of default to Jack. So Jack is, he grew up in an orphanage, right? What would they do back then? They would have had an orphanage, right, in the 1800s? So not a very good upbringing for Jack. And
workhouses. Weren't they workhouses there?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. If A Christmas Carol has taught me anything, isn't that what Scrooge did?
Yes. So there's a workhouse. They're from the workhouse, so it's like they're so thrilled to get there because the owner of the factory lets some of the kids come from the workhouse to his like estate in the woods, and everyone's so thrilled. No one realizes that they never come back.
I mean, it would also be a funny bit to have it be like, oh, it's a fun weekend for the orphans, but then the guy's also like, oh yeah, well, paint and do some work while you're here. Maybe that's getting a little too cynical, but I think it would be funny to, like, they're literally like offloaded thinking like we're just going to relax and there's like cans of paint and stuff. And it's like, yeah, if you could just like do that. Because it also gives, I'm always thinking in terms of like business for actors to do. Yeah. And you don't want characters just wandering around empty spaces talking because then blocking gets real boring and flat. So if they're physically doing a thing, it keeps things a little more visually stimulating. That's my pitch.
It creates a good rug pull in that first act, too, where like, oh, we've won, we're going to have this wonderful weekend, and then they get there and there's stuff for them to do and they can gripe about it a little, but then internally one can say, well, I'd rather work here than in the workhouse, so let's just paint this banister and get to it.
But it also gives an excuse to focus on the house itself and the detail, yes. There you go. There was a reason for that.
What made these?
If I had to guess, I'd say some wino was on his way home from a bender last night. Thought he could Evel Knievel his way over this hole and fell in. What else could it be, really?
Maybe a raccoon.
That doesn't make any damn sense.
So let's talk about, again, how they have to figure it out, right? They have to figure out that the house is doing this. We have the drinking, the blood going away and the riverbed drying up, but what else? Do we sacrifice a pet here, or what do we do to, what's the next step? We got to ramp it up. Yeah, we got to do our first kill.
I've got a good kill.
Okay. Justin loves kills.
Well, we have to establish some good, now that we have kind of our monster house, let's think of some good potential kills. Since these are working children, I was thinking old school working children jobs, chimney sweep. Maybe one of the kids tries to escape via the chimney, only to the other characters watch the cameras down at the hearth, like the fireplace. We see the kid go up, we hear a scream, water full of blood.
Oh yeah.
Timmy's gone.
Yes, that's good. A suggested kill where it's just it's all sound design and aftermath.
Now, should he be fixing something on the roof, like a loose plate or a shingle, and then he looks down the chimney, and then it seems like something grabbed him, and then inside the house, a fountain of blood can come into the fireplace where they are, and it's like, what happened?
You definitely want him to see something that at that point, this early in the movie, you don't want the audience to see it, but you want to see his terror, so it gets your brain working like, well, what did he see in that chimney? And what did that to him?
Something's loose in the house.
Yeah, but you don't know what. And yes, it's a misdirect of thinking like, is there somebody in the house killing these kids? And it's not you don't want to spoil Monster House right off the bat. So suggesting it's a person, I think this is also, we should be introducing like a vagrant or somebody that like lives nearby, a bit of a red herring.
Yeah, that's what I said, like a repairman or something, yeah.
So you think that, oh, is this guy murdering these kids? Make him kind of weird.
I know who that guy is. They show up at what they think is like, 1, 2, 3, Baba Yaga Lane, whatever, Elderberry Lane, and they think that's the address. And the old like caretaker of the building is like, no, that used to be the address, but now it's over there. So that later you realize he knew all along that the house moves, right, and has led them. He's complicit in the whole thing.
Yes, definitely having that, you do that third act twist of revealing that he's in on it. You think he's going to help everyone save the day, save the kids, and then he's actually just a part of the whole plot.
Willie was the villain all along.
I think a working title of this should be Monster House now.
It's already taken.
Working title.
Monster House 3D, yeah.
Porcelain House. But yeah, I love that idea that the 3/4 of the movie you're gonna be trying to figure out is it who's the killer? Is it a monster? Like what is picking these kids off one by one? Yeah.
Okay, so we've got the orphans arrive thinking that they have been rewarded in some way, and they've gone in 1801 to a new build of a house. Turns out it's not so great for them. They've got some work to do. But it allows them to see the dangerous symmetry of that house and give the audience a way into some of the peculiar things. One of them disappears down a chimney, a shower of blood.
Wait, before that, I have a thought.
Yeah?
Could the house be feeding them, fattening them up? Do they wake up to a glorious breakfast waiting for them?
Ooh, food, with no servants, but
no servants, but suddenly there's this amazing breakfast. What did we do to deserve this?
It's actually created from the flesh of the creature, like it exudes those things.
So, what it should be, because I feel like having stuff mysteriously appear might tip people off to supernatural components a little early.
So was the trailer, though.
Yeah, well, that too. The trailer that will show the entire climax, of course. But what if there is a servant that we find out later is just like a manifestation of this house, that it's like a psychic projection of, like it's more of a ghostly projection. Or, yeah, like an organic extension that, maybe you reveal that you only ever see them kind of like around corners and things. Yeah, or just the top half. Yeah, it feels like a real In the Mouth of Madness type creature design. I like that.
And so it could be coming and going through like the dumbwaiter, right? Which is going through that. And so as it, you'd find that out later, that you'd hear the dumbwaiter creak, and then the servant would appear with food, but really it's because it's extruding this tendril out of the house interior, right? And it's like, yeah, gross. Yeah.
I can't wait for that climactic set piece with the servant. It's actually a good way to represent the house as something they can actually later in the movie. I feel like that's a good set piece. Those kids would get their hands on an axe or something, and they'd be chopping at this thing, and it would just be growing new weird extrusions.
So after they chop him off with the axe, that's when the trapdoor opens and that big eyeball is there, right? They're maybe we got to get out of here, and they open the trapdoor and the eyeball is there, and now we're building up to revealing the meat walls and the fact that the injured house is going to stand up. Is that stand-up a chase scene? Like, are they out of the house? Like, oh, we made it out, and then it stands up and comes after them?
I'm going to play studio exec right now and say that needs to be basically like the final moment of the movie, because a set piece with that, 100% been through the process of putting that in a script and being like, let's have this crazy thing happen, and then people being like, you can't do that. So I'm just going to jump right ahead to that studio note and say we put it at the end as our final image to tease what the next movie could be.
And I think it's important that the dear listener to this episode of the podcast, which, by the way, we're recording live at FanQuest, they should Google Steven Kostanski's face, right? And then they should imagine a big cigar and like a top hat. That's producer Steve. So producer Steve was just talking. He has a monocle, a cigar. He's like, nah, that's too expensive. We can't do that.
Yeah, pinstripe suit. I'm like sitting big and on my pile of money behind my big oak desk. Yeah. Classic Steve producer.
So in the house is a big oak desk, and they find a clue. What is that clue, Justin?
Yeah, some
I like this.
We need like an exposition dump of like, oh, look at this notebook. It has all these notes on this, whatever. What is that?
What if it's a key to a room in the house that they need to go, and then maybe it's a hidden, like this is we come back to the hidden red room, right? We were talking about that.
Oh,
so maybe certain thing that will get them into that room.
The key takes them to the red room.
Or
yes, and the red room is what traps the creature in place. They think they're killing the creature, but they actually free it so it can stand up.
I want to expand on this key idea. I feel like you don't get the door for the key until you're physically holding the key. So for that to be a thing, you got to make it work to get the key. So I think they find the oak desk in Act 1 when they're painting and doing all their exploring. There's some kind of box or something that the key is in that has a bunch of steps, like very Hellraiser puzzle box baloney, to get through, to get to the key so they can get it. It just delays that, so it times out nicely into Act 3 where they get the key out of the box. As soon as they're holding it, there's suddenly that blank wall that they thought would have the red room suddenly has a door. They open the door, and that gets them in.
In Act 1, they could find a whole bunch of trunks full of other kids' stuff and have like a nice, lighthearted scene of like, let's play with all these abandoned toys and clothes and look at all this stuff.
Look at all
and
this
that's where they
stuff
find
we
that.
get to play with.
And looking back, we know that that's the remains.
The remains of all those kids. Now, my desk in the studio, Justin doesn't know this, so this is for all the dear listeners and everybody else. The desk that I have in the studio is an old desk. It's about 100 years old, and it originally was the a gold trader in Winnipeg had this desk. And so there's a drawer in the desk that only opens if 3 of the drawers are opened at a certain distance. It will unlock that other drawer. So the kids could find a desk, and it's a big old oak desk like that. So they could find that out. They could be playing with it and hear that. And how I found out as a kid that there was a secret compartment, this is my father's old desk, was that it made this chunking noise when you opened some of the drawers. And the chunking was the sound of the mechanism locking certain things into place. So they could find that. We could use that. We have the prop.
I love what a Resident Evil puzzle that is. Yes. That's perfect.
But these were common for people who traded money often. They'd have a drawer that, I don't have the key for it, I can't open that, and that's where they'd put, Yeah. So the desk is the key, right? And then they open that and find the physical key, and holding that, the door is revealed to the red room. Oh, I'm like it.
Psycho Gorman. That's great. It's fun, it's hip, it's wow, and it's now.
You're making a terrible mistake, you putrid little creature.
Now what, Dan?
I think we should kill somebody else.
Yeah.
Let's have another kill. Because we've done one. The first one was the fireplace, right? We thought about the fireplace, and I just want to add, I don't know if we want to go full on unrealistic blood, gushes and just buckets and buckets of blood coming down that, or just a regular amount of blood.
I think gushes.
I don't know if it's happening that early in the movie.
You might just want to have it be.
My logic is the law of diminishing returns. If you go big, then you're going to expect double the gush later.
Yes, of course.
So
see,
maybe
he's done it. He knows.
Working title: Double the Gush.
Oh, a classy title. That's a real A24 horror movie we're making here.
Writing it down.
We could have somebody get. Did bathtubs have drains back then?
Porcelain ones did.
Somebody gets sucked into a drain.
The Blob?
Yes, I was actually gonna bring that up earlier, that kill in the remake of The Blob where the guy gets pulled down the sink. Yep. This feels like the kind of movie that would have that gag.
Okay, so I don't know if you know this about coral, but they extrude their insides to the outside to digest things. And so the bathtub could fill with a fleshy, pink, viscous membrane that just fills up in the bathtub and then dissolves the people and then slithers back down the drain.
Ah, you mean that part in Ghostbusters 2 with the slime in the bathtub, yes.
The porcelain bathtub. Okay, so someone dies in the bath, someone dies in the chimney.
What about good attic or basement kill, or a dumbwaiter? Could they use the dumbwaiter and it goes somewhere?
The dumbwaiter, yeah. The dumbwaiter, if they are messing with the dumbwaiter and something bad happens, so that when we show why the dumbwaiter is somehow protected by the house.
The dumbwaiter just goes down into a throat.
Yes. Yeah, some opportunity for somebody to be crawling through a thing that goes from being a structural part of the house to just being organic. And they almost they're so preoccupied with whatever they're doing, they don't notice that transition before it's too late. And then they're just trapped in a throat.
Maybe the anglerfish, maybe the angler guy, maybe he's the groundskeeper. Maybe the groundskeeper is also connected by this, umbilicus of some sort. So he is chasing them, and that's how they're getting deeper and deeper into the house. Yeah. Right? So before they find it, so this would be an Act 1, Act 2, kind of we're building into stuff is getting weird, but we still think the butler did it, essentially.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, I wonder if you maybe subtle it up a little bit where it's the butler is getting one of the kids to help him with something. Because I think having opportunities for the butler character, butler, servant, groundskeeper, whatever character, to get kids isolated, I think that would be a spooky jumping off point for various kills. He would lure one of them to the dumbwaiter and be hey, you should go down there. It's a real fun ride.
Yeah.
You should try it out.
It goes right to the kitchen.
Yeah, it goes right. Why don't you go down to the kitchen and get us that steamed ham or whatever?
Plot title number 3.
And so, I don't know, I just feel that motivates some of these kills a little better if we utilize our butler guy to isolate and separate these kids and basically puts them into these situations. And it also helps with the misdirect of making you think is he doing all of this?
Thought of a potential title: No Place Like Home.
No No place like home. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Okay, real important question for the panel here. Does the butler have a lower half? Is he like an intestinal worm on the bottom half with the top half in a nice little groundskeeper jacket? Or does he have actual legs, and one of those legs also has this long umbilicus that he has to drag? So it seems like he's walking with the limp. That's what I'm seeing. But he's actually dragging the umbilicus behind him as he does.
What I like about the limp is it gives you a aha moment later where you get to go like, oh, that's why he was limping, because he's got a tentacle on his foot, which is like, you want that kind of fun engagement for the audience where they got to unravel this thing. Yeah. So that gets my vote.
But aren't you thinking about how much work that's going to be, Steve, if you actually have to make that creature?
I will. Future Steve is going to curse out story pitch Steve in 2 years or whatever when we're shooting this thing.
But producer Steve will show up and be like, get back to work.
Yeah,
and I like that for the second
arguing.
viewing as well, watching all those shots over again with that knowledge now, noticing how that foot is never shown, like how it's carefully shot to like keep that.
Yeah, well,
it's always fun.
What I like about that too is that I feel like we're doing a good job of setting up your standard like ghost movie where people are going to think like, oh, the butler guy is just a ghost and it's a haunted house and whatever. And so kind of playing into those tropes the way that we are, to then completely undermine them with Meathouse, I think is, yeah. And there,
number 4.
Yeah, that's a keeper.
Meathouse.
I like that better than, yeah, that's actually pretty good. Meathouse.
And Meathouse 2, double the gush.
Yes, there you go.
All right, I think we just got to wrap this up. Like, I mean, we talked about, what?
Close.
No, I'm just having fun.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. Time flies when you're murdering orphans in the woods. But
we are recording this. We have the basic
that's right. Now, hold
ideas
on.
here.
To keep up with 13 we have to finish. To keep up with 13 Hours, we must have the ending, however rough it is. So, how do we end our story? What is the final moments? Who survives? Why do they survive? Why are they worthy of surviving the horror story? We'll put Steve on the spot. He loves that, I've learned.
I don't know, I feel like I've steamrolled over a lot of this pitch. I kind of want to let you guys throw some ideas around.
I'm a big believer in doing unexpected things. So I would not want it to be the expected trope of the final girl or something like that. I would want to do something different. So I mean, I don't know what that would be necessarily. Can you come up with something?
Dad survives.
Yeah, that would be good. With that.
Just dad.
I think there's also, like, we've got orphans. You know, clearly there is a thematic component of, like, a family not having family. I think one of the kids, their arc should be developing, like, accepting independence and not being, maybe they're tormented by the loss of their parents or being abandoned by their parents. And the climax in some way should involve them and this, I guess, surrogate father figure, and them having to let go of the surrogate father figure and accept their independence for some reason.
Literally let go of him because he's dragged into the house to be eaten. And the kid is on the cusp of becoming now an adult, so they don't need those parents anymore. And there's a great through line here because orphans need a home to live in, right? So there's this nice thing, and they come to a home and they have to battle literally the idea of family and home and cultists and society and all that stuff. And then they escape into the woods.
I thought they could have, not at the very end, but near the end, the orphans could have some kind of win where they trick somebody into, they load up a kid with like rat poison and feed him to the house.
Like they booby trap a kid?
They booby trap a meal.
Ooh.
I'm just trying to think of a way that orphans can get at the house.
Sorry, I didn't mean to. They do a Hey Boy, like in the Weird Al movie. Remember the Hey Boy?
Oh, yeah, fake boy. Yeah, like, actually, that's a fun idea, but my brain was going to, it's almost like having like a bandolier of grenades or something, you know, that trope of like somebody has them, they pull the pin and they blow themselves up as a sacrifice. Having the surrogate dad guy do that with like rat poison, he gets pulled into the house and he's got this, you know, rigged up rat poison contraption that they were coming up with maybe earlier to fight the house, and he's got it, and so when he gets consumed, it somehow poisons the house, and we think solves the problem.
Rat poison that we saw in Act 1 lining the shelves of this old cabin unopened because they don't need it. The house takes care of its own vermin. Yeah, it never has rats, right?
I feel like it should be. I mean, I like the idea of the rat poison, of poisoning them, but maybe something else that will, because we still want that shot of the house revealing itself at the end, right? We still
I don't think the rat poison kills the house.
Oh, okay.
It just
That's
pisses
just gonna hurt
it
it.
off. Let's be clear, it does not solve the problem.
Okay. So how do we kill the house is the question.
No, we don't.
I don't think they can. I was trying to think of some kind of way they could fight back in some way. I also think to go with rats, one of the kids should have a cat in the beginning that disappears early on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good call.
I did talk about sacrificing a pet earlier, yes. That's a good kind of like just an easy thing to do to indicate something's wrong.
Well, thank you so much for participating in our 13 horrors. I think the best title so far is Meathouse.
It kind of spoils. It spoils it a little.
No, it doesn't. It only after.
It spoils the meat.
Because I think when you hear Meathouse, you would think they've brought the kids there to eat them. Right? But they didn't.
Yeah, so
right?
we've also got like teasing it being potentially a ghost movie and also teasing a potential cannibal movie as well. And it's not. It's a monster house.
So this episode of Super Pulp Science is brought to you by 13 Horrors. This is Gregory Kamichuk encouraging all of you to join the fight, write your own stories, and make comics.